Thanks for staying with us. Now we're turning our attention to probably one of the biggest issues in the country today. In 13 days, Nigerians will be going to the poll to elect new leaders at the national level. But Nigerians are still faced with a challenge of queuing for fuel and cash swap. Though the Supreme Court has temporarily overturned the policy of the CBN on cash swap, Nigerians are still finding it difficult to withdraw both at the banking hall and at the ATM. Joining me in the studio to talk about this is the APC candidate, Federal House of Representatives, Surulere Constituency 2, Lanre Okunola, and also the Director General, Accord Party Presidential Council in Lagos State, Lanre Ogundare. So I'm sort of very fortunate today to have two Lanres in the studio. Good to have both of you. Let me begin with you because I know that APC has pretty much given a stance on this particular, especially the Naira scarcity and the Naira redesign policy. They have said they support it, but the implementation for them is a bit shaky. What's the position of the Accord Party and your presidential candidate on this?
Well, the position of Accord Party on this Naira redesign is a very good policy, it's a welcoming policy, but the problem we are having as a citizen of this country presently is the timing. The timing is very awkward, very insensitive on the part of the CBN governor, as Emefiele. He has not done the due diligence in implementing and trying to put the new notes to circulation because we don't have enough of it in circulation. Don't forget that Nigeria, we are being wired in a way that we lived daily on direct exchange. When you take a look at the informal sector, look at the Yalata, the Oja, Teju market, look at the Malam selling yam at Okedo market. They will never collect transfer from you. And that is the only means of exchange for now. So I can just say that it is a deliberate attempt to put more poverty to our people in Nigeria.
So I take it that Accord is not one of the 13 parties who have decided. Some of them have now gone to court. Some parties came together and said that the deadline should not be extended, that they are in support of the redesign policy and where we are today, and that if the deadline were to be extended, they'll withdraw from the election. So I take it that your party is not one of the 13 parties.
Our party has a direct position which we've been able to adopt. We love the policy, but the timing is wrong. It's as simple as that. Thank God for the Supreme Court ruling that I've been able to douse the tension by pronouncing that the two currency, both the new and the old, should be run simultaneously in the system. That is how it has been done in every international community, name it. Even when the last time Nigeria had a redesign of currency, we were engaging the system with both the new and the old. That is the only way we can solve this problem. So as for Accord, the policy is a good one because it's going to plug and stop some leakages, financial leakages from the government on the government part. But at the same time, we have to look at the citizen, which we are responsive to. So on that angle, the government failed woefully. So as a party, our position is that we are in support of the program, of the policy, but we are against the timing. Our own position is that let the old note and the new note should be run, should be used, should be in circulation concurrently, pending when we have enough of the new note to take charge of the old notes.
All right, so let me get your stance on it. I know where your party is on this. We've seen, in fact, the case in Supreme Court was taken there by governors of your party. And then we have two more governors from the APC now joining that particular suit. The governor of Ondo and Kano, I understand, have also not joined. But let me get your own stance on this.
Thank you very much, Precious, for having me here. See, interestingly, in life, there must be a process. And when the process becomes a quick fix, then there's an issue. The process must be done in such a way that you must be able to know what it entails. What was the vision for the new design? If the vision is lost along the line, would have systemic problem. Now, is it to strengthen the Naira, or it was just to do otherwise? These are critical issues that we as a party have come to face, and we're doing that together. We're resolute because of the fact that the problems out there. Have we been able to engage the masses to say, look, this is what we intend to do over this period in time? Yes, we have. And that is why you find out that the presidential candidate of our party has said he was the first person to actually raise the alarm that we should calm down, that looking at the situation the way it is, there are more things to be done, that we must, as Nigerians, be resolute to stand on certain positions that things must work. And the only way to make this work is to make sure that whoever is driving this policy must be exposed. And that is why you find as a party, we're standing behind the fact that things for this country must be done with a process. There's what you call the short, the medium, and the long-term goal. What's the short-term goal for having the design? For me, by my background as an architect, when you say a new design, it means that you are actually refurbishing the new one, or you are remodeling the new one, the old one, you know? So when you bring that into play, it becomes an issue. That means that whatever ingredients you have in the old one, are you discarding it for a new process? But it must go through a well-tailored process where there must be adequate planning. There must be a part where you can say, you can analyze. You can say, look, okay, this was done in 10 years ago. What were the issues? Did we solve the issue at that point in time? Did we strengthen the Naira? You know, so these are issues that should have been brought to bear, considering the fact that if everybody was engaged and taken along through the process. But when that is not done, this is what you find. But as a party, we're strong and resolute that we're going to make sure that things work normally, that Nigerians feel the essence of the APC as a party, and make sure that whatever it is that we need to do to make sure that this country is great, we'll do it. I'll give you an example. Growing up, the basic fundamentals that we learned then is you pledge to Nigeria to be faithful, loyal, and honest. That was what we were taught. Service to Nigeria is service to serve Nigeria with all our strength. That is what is important. And at the end of the line, at the end of that underline, I said, so help me God. It is important as individuals, as partymen, to make sure that the people come first. And that is why our president, incoming president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is always vehement to say that things must be done right. And that's what we stand for.
All right, so let me ask you, because those who, for the political parties who have supported this particular policy, they say, look, it will help curb vote buying, that the big parties or the bigger parties who they term as the money bags, it will limit their ability to buy votes. Do you agree that this particular policy would actually help in our electoral process, ensuring that we have a free, fair election?
What's the function of the CBN? They're financial institutions.
CBN hasn't said that's why they are doing it,
so,
but some political parties who are in support are saying for them, they believe it will curb vote buying.
I think we're missing the line. The vision is the financial engineering. Now you're talking about a political situation. They are two parallel lines. They can't meet. It doesn't have, it's like you're just putting something that is not supposed to be. That means that if you're using that as a basis, that means we're losing our focus. We're losing the focus. The focus should be that we want to strengthen the Naira. And if we're using this as a bait to say that the money bags will take over, then I think I have a problem with that. You know, so the essence is for us to know that, fine, you might have the tendency to say that, yes, the money bags, but when a political situation whereby if the focus was for strengthening the Naira and to make sure that the people suffer, then we're getting it wrong. But if the focus was to strengthen the Naira and things work out, then it becomes a good policy to drive. But now the focus is more like it's for political gains, then there's a problem.
let me come to you because let me ask you the same question.
Yeah,
Do you think that it has the within that policy, it has the opportunity and the possibility of curbing vote buying?
Definitely, yes. Because I will just use the immediate last election in Nigeria, and that's the Osun State election. We also saw what played out at that election. Money was exchanged for votes. Yes, thank God that President Muhammadu Buhari has been able to do one significant thing as an administration for 8 years, which is the Electoral Act that he assented to, the use of beavers and the rest for elections. That alone has been able to put an end to most of all these shenanigans that comes up in an electioneering process. Take, for example, now, the era of overvoting is gone in Nigeria, the electoral system. Anywhere, any polling booth that they record an overvoting is almost automatic cancellation of the entire vote in that polling unit. And the only way younger party like ours can have a voice, can have a say, is when we are fully involved in the process. How can we be involved in the process? Let the right thing be done at the right time. Yes, the issue of the Naira redesign, the effect on electoral process is very, very massive. Take a look at what actually transpired in the last few weeks, where loads of Nairas were being taken from people's house, taken to the bank. If that measure is not put in place, definitely the usual political era that we normally experience in Nigeria will definitely play out again. But now,
Mr. Larry, whilst I do not encourage vote buying, but right now we're not in a situation where it is almost now easier because Nigerians do not have access to money. Initially, people will say, "Oh, for those who have said, whilst I do not have I wasn't there when that happened." But people will say, "Look, I got 10,000, I got 5,000." For a Nigerian who hasn't seen 10,000 in the last how many weeks, and is looking for money, would it not be easier to now give the person 1,000 and the person votes for you? Has it not now made the vote buying even easier?
The onus of the job lies with the political parties that are participating in the election. It is up to us to sensitize and conscientize the electorate on need for them to defend their vote. This is the only period and the only time Nigerians can speak in a unique voice, in a united voice, that, we want to put a stop to all this barbaric government that has been ruling on in the past. That is why the PVC is the mandate, is the key, and is the pillar to the success of Nigeria. That is the only way all political parties, younger political parties, should go back to the electorate, emphasize more on the need for them to defend their vote, emphasize on the need for them not to sell their vote. Even if Naira is totally taken away from the circulation,
has this not made
all these big politicians can...
Has this not made it even counterproductive? When you say we want to deny the politicians, for example, the CBN has not said that. I'm only quoting the other political parties who seem to think that, look, you're denying the big wigs access to money. And you're also denying the Nigerians access to money as well. Have you not made it easier for their votes to be bought if they don't have access to money? Some people right now are just looking for 1,000 or 2,000, and if you give it to them, you might have as well given them a reason to say, give me the money, I'll vote for you.
That is where the sensitization and the conscientization by party leaders comes to play.
All right, let me take the conversation here. I'd like you to respond to, there was a National Council of State meeting yesterday where the National Council of State advised that it's either you print more money or you recirculate the old ones. But there is also a case at the Supreme Court. Yes, there is an interim injunction that says everybody put everything on hold, and whilst we have the hearing on February the 15th.
Yes.
Now, if there is a counter judgment that says CBN can go on, what then happens?
You see, it's quite unfortunate that we have to go through this route because it's needless, but the situation we find ourselves, I feel that the way it is now, it's more of a political solutions that would come to play because unfortunately we found ourselves where we are today. But I believe that there's this ray of hope on the line that with or without the judgment, there's certain things that you've been able to see now that people are also exploiting the situation. I'll share an experience I had yesterday, and I didn't have cash, and I was trying to get cash, and the guy beckoned to me that there's a POS machine there that I could use and all that, and You know, I went there and he actually said for each 1,000 naira that I want to get, I have to pay a premium, you know, so high. And I was like, you know, it means that we're exploiting the situation the way it is. And if we're not emphatic, if we're not firm in some of these policies we do, we find out that there's always a loophole there. And in making sure that this does not happen, we need to make sure that our processes go through the short, medium term, well-planned process. Unfortunately, we found ourselves in this situation. And I am very, very much confident that we will resolve accordingly, and this country will
Where is your confidence coming from? Because the CBN just said that, look, we do not have the capacity to print enough money. So where's the confidence coming from?
The confidence is coming from the fact that whatever the situation is, we as Nigerians, we're resolute. We would always find a way around it. And that's where my confidence is coming from.
But we've seen what's played out in the last few days. There have been protests. We've seen protests in, I think that was Ogun. There was one in Oyo. There was Edo State. I think there was also Delta State. And so if this lingers, are you not concerned that, look, because I also think that there's a limit to which Nigerians can bear. And you put that concurrently with the fuel scarcity. Do you not see, whilst we advise people to be calm and say, you know, do not become violent, but do you not see Nigerians taking to the streets even more if this continues?
No, I don't see that, because along the way, things are beginning to fall in place. Well, with the decision that they could use the old Naira notes with the new ones, and coupled with the February 15th judgment that we're looking up to, we're seeing that things will begin to fall into the whole process. I mean, mistakes will have been made along the line, but we're resolute that this will move ahead, and the elections will come up in February 25th. The elections will come out. Nigerians are also resolute that they want to elect a new leader. You know, so irrespective of whatever the challenges are, yes, that's where that's what God has created us to face these challenges and to be resolute.
I'm sure Nigerians are saying to themselves, I don't know how long I can take this. But let me ask you, you were making, I think I heard you making comments while he was speaking. How long do you think that we can, in the next few days, what do you see happening if this issue is not resolved?
If it's not resolved, we should be expecting the NSAS scenario. It's as simple as that. Because people are tired, people are dying, people are hungry, and they need food on their table. People are denied of their legitimate, legally earned money. Take, for example, what is going on in Zenith Bank. Zenith Bank almost shut all their branches. Same thing applicable to First Bank. What is going to be the fate of the customers, Nigerians that have funds in those banks? How do you expect them to live? The best thing is that all these policies are anti-people's policy. It's as simple as that. There's no way you can whitewash a bad policy. Yes.
Is the policy itself bad, or is implementation of the policy that's bad?
The implementation is very wrong. The timing is wrong, totally wrong. Totally. People are dying, not at this point in time. People are dying. We just came out from the COVID era. People are struggling to make their business come alive again. We have the so-called issue last year. Now we are facing the redesign of Naira without even having access to the cash. How will you feel after working day and night, earning your money, and you cannot even spend your money?
Somebody was saying to me that she was waiting for the end of January to earn her salary. Her salary came, and it almost looks like, you know, she has not been paid as well because she doesn't have access to it. But let's talk about the fuel scarcity. How bad has the fuel scarcity made this crisis? Is it the Naira scarcity that made it worse, or is the fuel, combining that with the fuel scarcity that made it worse?
You see, the thing is, the MD of NNPC was on air a couple of weeks ago, and he said that he's sorry and that things will return back to normal. I think that has started happening, and but you see, it boils down to the fact that most times we place things on fuel. What are the alternatives? If there's no fuel, what has been put in place? That's why our governor, Sanwo-Olu, is looking at the informal sector and bringing Blue Rail Line to bear so that things that can take away the subsidy can be annexed. The issue has always been on subsidy. But who are we subsidizing to?
You know, Nigerians should be asking you these questions because your party that is in power, the president is from your party. So Nigerians should actually be asking you what's going on.
Yes, no, I understand that basically well. But what I'm saying is that these are things that has to be well laid and well planned. Yes, removal of subsidy will take a while. Will take more process being put in place. But what we're saying is that because of our renewed hope, we know that we can do this thing. We know the process and what it entails and what we can do in making sure that these things are taken off the shelf, whereby...
Just to quickly interrupt you, I know that was part of your manifesto in 2015.
Yes.
And also in 2019, but we still have fee subsidy. In fact, it has been subsidized till, I think, is it June this year? That it has been subsidized up to June this year. If you're presidential candidate, because Nigerians are not into so much talk anymore, they've had so much talk without action. But if your presidential candidate were to win that election on February the 25th, will he remove fuel subsidy?
He has said categorically that fuel subsidy must go, and that's the route. But for fuel subsidy to go, there are certain things that must be put in place. Infrastructures must be put in place. Things like refineries, well, thanks to Dangote's refinery now that's up and running, would also help in making sure that fuel gets to the Nigerian at the appropriate time. You know, so these are the things that we would be working on. And it might be based on a medium-term base, whereby a 3-year plan to see how we can really know, okay, who are we subsidizing for?
All right, so let me put you on hold because time seems to be running. Let me just get your thoughts on the fuel scarcity and what exactly you think is going on and some of the damage control you think that can be put in place.
Well, let me quickly take it off from where my able...
Your co-Larry.
Yes, my Eda Larry. Sir, APC encourages sharp practices and corruption. If subsidy were to be removed, first subsidy were to be removed, how much are we going to be buying for? Say, for example, coming here today, I bought fuel for 380 Naira per liter. And we say we are still subsidizing. Who is fooling who? Who and who are benefiting from the proceeds of the subsidy? Acclaimed, in quote, acclaimed subsidy. These are questions Nigerians are begging for answers. All these processes are just process to whitewash, to brainwash our people because election is around the corner.
So because you have directly spoken to his party, I'll just give you the last minute to respond.
APC has done a lot in terms of making sure that the dividends of democracy is well annexed to the people. And we will do more with the renewed hope that we have. We believe that we have somebody that is going to re-engineer the financial institution that will bring to play the architects of modern Nigeria and would help in galvanizing a greater Nigeria. And that is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right, so I want you to, in a minute, I know you're running for office as well, Federal House of Representatives, Surulere Constituency 2. In just a minute, speak to us about what you're going to do differently if you were to win that election.
Well, I would engage my people. I'll be their voice. Presently, I've done a roadwork of 494 streets, knocking on their doors, feeling their pulse, feeling their yearnings and what we need to do for the constituents. And that's what we've been doing, and we've been engaging them. Interestingly, I share same constituency with the Speaker of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Femi Gbajabiamila. He's in constituency 1, and I'm in constituency 2. The Speaker has been so gracious in making sure that he has facilitated projects for us in our constituency. He's done well over 200 roads. And leaning on that, we hope to do more in terms of more legislation for our community and Nigeria as a whole, and also do facilitate more projects.
I'm sure we'll have you again to speak more about your running for office and not the general issues we are facing as Nigerians. Thank you so much for talking to us, Larry Okunola, the APC candidate, Federal House of Representatives, Surulere Constituency 2, and also thank you for coming. I'm the Director General, Accord Party Presidential Council in Lagos, Larry Okunola.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
That's it on Political Standpoint today. Remember, you can watch again at 11 p.m. tonight and 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. I am Precious Amayo.